Hi, my name's Pat. I'm 33 years old. I'm male. I'm 192 centimeters tall and probably about 72 kilos in weight.
Okay. And what's one of your first memories? You can just like incorporate loosely. What's one of your first memories of comparing your body to something you saw on screen?
On screen.
Like it could be a magazine as well, like just like in the media of some kind.
Sure. My first memories of comparing myself to something I'd see on a screen was probably around like adverts or something like that, and around complexion, just because my skin was so pale, and I like often would like look at like tan skin on the adverts and kind of like think about how white my skin was. That, or for some reason something about the Olympics is coming to mind, like really fit bodies and things like that. Yeah.
And like with seeing that, like how did you feel in yourself?
Yeah, I think I felt not very comfortable in my own complexion. And I think my interpretation of that, though, is also due to peers and other experiences aside from just ingesting media. Because I was like part of a life-saving club. I think that was like really informative in that as well.
So like a lifeguard.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Lifesaver, actually, like a lifesaver.
like in Star Wars.
That's a lightsaber.
True.
I wish.
Alright.
Fuck, you're a lightsaber. Yeah, anyway.
You saved the light in me. You there?
Yeah.
Serious?
Yeah.
Okay. Next question's easy. What do you love about your body?
So I love about my body. I love my butt. I love my abs. I love that my body like propels me and enables me to do things. Like I love that I can kayak and climb. I can go for walks. I can feel the wind on my skin. I can feel the weather. I think they're all the things that I love about it. Yeah. Or as many as I can think right now.
Cool. And how do you feel about your body? That's a real question.
How do I feel about my body? I feel some sort of discontent with my body currently because I was really trying to change my body and make my body more athletic, functional, muscular, and then I have kind of like hit a bit of a roadblock or experienced some emotional things that have then really like stopped that process. And I'm so used to training and exercising that I think I feel a little bit of discontent with it, but at the same time there's quite a lot of surrender with it. Like I'm quite complacent in where I'm currently at. Just
What do you mean by complacent?
Meaning I can accept by complacent I mean I can accept the sort of discontent that I have with it. Like at the moment I feel like I look a bit emaciated, a little bit skinny, but I know that overall I don't look too bad, and like I don't mind, and I can change it if I want. Yeah.
That was a really lovely answer. So it's kind of asking the same question. I'm just going to ask it and then we'll move forward.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
how do you feel about your size?
Sure. How do I feel about my size? I feel good about my height. Yeah, I feel really lucky to be tall. And I guess in terms of my my width or their lack of, like I feel a lot more comfortable about it now. But I've definitely struggled with feeling like I'm growing in one dimension but not growing in another. So, I'd say overall, I feel good about my size, but width and height I felt a little bit differently.
Can I ask you to like dive into why you feel like what you feel about your width? Like
Sure.
What's the difference? Like you feel comfortable about your height, but like what?
Yeah.
Why don't you feel comfortable about your width?
Yeah. The reason why I feel comfortable about my height but not so much my width is that I feel that my height makes me stand out, which within like not being very wide and not being very muscular always made me feel really vulnerable. So I really felt like I stuck out, and I grew up in quite a rough area, and I always felt that tall guys were the ones that got picked out. So like because I was tall but I wasn't wide, it was a signal that people could come and fuck with me. So that's how I interpreted it, and I felt very vulnerable in such a tall, big frame.
Did shorter people get picked on as well?
Uh,
Or not really?
I'm sure that they did. But I think it was just something about just standing out due to my height.
What was the general population like?
Yeah, the general population was I was one of the tallest people around, in my peer groups and extended peer groups and acquaintances that I come across. I was always one of the tallest. Yeah, the media has shaped on my own body image or on the body image. How has the media shaped my view on body image? And I guess this could be both my own and with others. Is that I think that it's definitely expectations, are there, and they're quite prominent. Like, to be fit and healthy, to be like athletic, to be tanned. I think that was what I sort of interpreted growing up. Just especially just about being really pale. Like that was such a thing, and I think that I remember looking at media and thinking, oh, I don't look like that. And then in regards to how I see the opposite sex, it's definitely shaped me as well in terms of like even what I catch out as like sometimes like my expectations or even other people in general, like male or female, if I see that people are unfit or people are super fit or like really skinny or like there's a sort of sense that's sometimes it's like certain things, they're not right, that doesn't look right. Whereas like if I've gone to like a festival or something like that, or something like Confest, where everyone's naked for like four days, there's this sort of surrender, and then you just start to see that everyone has a thing. Like even that immaculate looking person over there, like they have a scar all the way down their leg or something like that. And that's like, I guess a more accepting sort of that everyone looks different.
It's more humanizing.
More humanizing, yeah.
That's great. I love that. So what do you do to soothe yourself when you feel stressed?
What do I do to soothe myself when I feel stressed? So many things. I will have a cold shower It's usually my go-to. Or I'll have a hot shower and then finish with cold. And I find like almost instantaneous now in the way I've like trained my body to deal with that cold water. And you can't think about being stressed or anxious while you're freezing your tits off, so it sort of takes my mind off it. Another thing I might do is I might do like a loving kindness, like, or self-compassion, like meditation, and like put my hand over my heart, massage my heart. I might, at the moment lately, light a fire, because I think that it like helps me drop in to some different part of my brain that I'm not using in this like modern life. So yeah, so I'll light a fire at night and sit, and I really feel a drop. Or yeah, I actually do like there's a bunch of things, but yeah, swimming as well can help, but it almost like creates stress while it's also then letting off stress at the end. Like it's not like the first ones that I mentioned, which are sort of all like relaxing and soothing. There's a little bit of pushing in the swimming. There's a little bit of like putting the body under stress. And yeah, I think another one which has kind of got a bit of a push to it, but then a big stress release, is like training with heavy weight. Yeah, that's another one that I do. Yeah.
I feel like I can't fully just relax from the soothing things. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
totally know
I
what you mean.
need to release the energy that is causing me stress.
Yeah.
So it's out of my body.
Yeah.
And then, because if I soothe, it's very temporary. It doesn't last very long. But if I do swim or I do exercise, I do something where I expel the energy that is causing me frustration, then I'm good for the day.
Yeah.
Or like the next 24 hours. You know, rather if I had a meditation, like, it might last me like an hour or two.
Yeah.
If I'm under like a stressful period.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, like, you know, that cold shower is like, that's 10 seconds or 15 seconds that you're freezing your tits off. And then you're done the shock, and then once the shock wears off.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but if you stay in for like 4 or 5 minutes, something happens, and then it's like a lot longer lasting. So
you're kind of putting your body under shock.
Yeah. I try and put the cold water in all the places on my body that are really uncomfortable, that I don't want it. And then once I've done that, like 30 seconds on the middle of my back, 30 seconds on my armpit, 30 seconds on my other armpit, 30 seconds on the nape of my neck. Like, once I've done all those spots, and then the middle of my face, and I've got like brain freeze and everything, like once that goes away, I can just be in there for as long as I like after that. And then there's a rush and a kind of warmth and a reassurance, and like afterwards I just feel very like grounded, calm, in control, but also really alert. Yeah. Walking's another one too.
Yeah. It's like hot and cold. It's like being in the sauna and then going straight into the thing, and like the release that you get with each one.
Yeah.
Like it's putting your body in extremes.
Yeah. Definitely.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Everyone's its own thing.
Yeah.
That's great. Next question.
Sure.
How do you feel when you look in the mirror?
When I look in the mirror, I feel sometimes a little bit disconnected from myself. There's times when it depends on what I'm doing with my life at the time, and also like what I'm doing with my body. If I'm working out a lot, I'll look in the mirror and I'll kind of like weigh myself up or objectify myself, or like look at this bit or this bit, or what's going on here. Oh, look at this, you know. And then that can be really fun, but it also then becomes like, I'm expecting, like I'm like, oh, what is this coming out, or what's happening here, or I can get quite like fine-tuned on the details, and then like really like wanting to like change myself. I buy into it. Yeah, and then yeah, sometimes I I don't know. I think yeah, I often look in the mirror and I'm evaluating like myself, or every now and again, like I feel like I'm evaluating myself. Um, but it's hard for me to get like solid opinions, like of if I think I'm looking good, or if I'm attractive, or if I'm unattractive, or I don't know. It's hard. Like when I was younger, I used to look in the mirror and feel like incredibly ugly. And nowadays, when I look in the mirror, like I see things that I like most of the time. But sometimes I just look in the mirror and I feel like nothing. Yeah, it's weird.
Like not positive or negative, but just neutral.
Yeah,
Is that what you mean by nothing?
it's almost like
Like when you see yourself, you feel neutral.
it's yes when I
Is
see
that what you mean, or is it neutral or nothing? Like I don't connect.
yeah. Sometimes
Like what do you mean by nothing?
yeah, when I see myself in the mirror, sometimes I see that it must be like myself and my body there and my face and everything, but I don't necessarily see, like I don't really pay myself that much attention. Like I just sort of look up and I'm like, oh yeah, that's me, and look down again and keep washing my hands, 'cause that's where the mirror is.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. But, yeah. That's just like yeah.
Yeah.
It's like seeing a housemate.
Yeah.
You're just like oh, you don't have to say hello every time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I get that. That's
Yeah.
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 You're not always gonna be like, how are you? Blah blah. Blah.
Yeah,
It's like
totally.
okay, we know each other. It's alright. I'll see you later.
Yeah. I feel like and depending on where I'm at in my life, like if I'm not with anyone like romantically or something, I'm not dating or not, maybe I'd look in my mirror more and evaluate things. But like if I'm like with someone or something like that, like I don't know, it's just sometimes through getting external validation and things like that, I think that if I'm getting a lot of external validation, I don't really look at myself as much. Yeah.
Cause
Because I just think that it's not something, it's not, I don't need to evaluate.
Because you're already being like.
I don't need to look in the mirror and kind of like bolster myself up, or like try and sort of like find where I fit, or find how I'm looking at the moment. How I look is how I look. Like, and I think that that's a state that I sort of have only really realized I get in when I'm getting like a lot of external validation, I think.
Do you think that like when you're not seeing someone, you're looking at yourself in the want that you will be accepted and admired by another person, and the moment that you have that, you've received what you want, so you're not as like trying to like you just said, like bolster yourself. Like do you think like the goal was for you to look good, was to be accepted and attracted to attractive to others?
Yeah, I think that is something around how I see myself in the mirror does have a relationship with like how I'm perceived and how I attract others, or how others find me. I think that definitely can play a part in like how much scrutiny I'm giving myself when I'm looking in the mirror. And usually, yeah, if I'm feeling secure in the way that people are perceiving me, then I don't really look that much. If there's some sort of like bid for someone's attention and I'm not getting it, like a partner that's not really validating me or something like that, then I might be looking in the mirror and I might still think that I look really good, but I'm like pep talking myself. I'm like telling myself, no, you look good. It's okay. It's okay. You're good. You're good. It's all right.
Yeah, I get it. But I'm just like, I do know that calm that you're talking about when you like have a partner and you see yourself in the mirror, like you still want to be attractive in general sense and to
Yeah.
yourself,
Yeah.
but you're like, you know that you're secure because someone already loves you.
Yeah.
Like I think that like I definitely like chill out a bit on like how hardcore I'm like trying to look good to the world, and I've already know that like I've got someone I love me. Like I'm
Yeah.
not trying so hard.
Yeah.
Like do you know what I mean? Like,
Totally. I think that's kind of what I'm
yeah.
broadly skating
Yeah,
around.
you get
Trying to find my way around. Yeah.
Do you think the way you feel in your body impacts the way people respond to you?
I think the way that I feel in my body definitely impacts the way that people respond to me. Yeah. And I see that through doing something simple like weight training. You know, like I might, at the moment I haven't trained for like 2.5 weeks. If I do 2 or 3 sessions and actually do my amount of fitness for the week that I set out for myself, like my goals, my fitness goals, boom, I do them, I lift the weight that I want to lift and everything, then I'll like be in the mirror and I'll be like, oh my god, look at this, oh shit, this is popping off. Like, you know, I'll just start to think like I can see the results, but no one else around me can really see those results. Like when I've asked sometimes, like, oh, can you notice this, or can you notice I've lost weight? Like people generally, like even people that are intimate with me, they won't really notice so much. So, but how I carry myself through feeling like I've done my body justice, and this could even be for like eating a whole bunch of sugary food. I may not be covered in pimples, but I may just think that my skin looks gross because I'm out of accountability with myself. So if I'm in accountability and if I'm eating healthy, fortunately, I feel like I can see that have a result, and then that makes me carry myself and walk like a little bit taller, I think. Yeah.
Do you ever compare your current body to a previous version of itself?
I compare my current body to a previous version of myself, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And that would be probably at times when I've been like incredibly physically fit, or I've been working out heaps and like my back and my lats are just huge, and yeah, I've just, you know, been doing all my fitness goals, and yeah, and I look at myself now and I think that's something that happened only like last week because I've been going through like a tough time, and I took my shirt off and I just saw this like emaciated like frame. I just saw this like skeleton, like, in my rib cage is so prominent, and I was just like, I look quite gaunt, like in my eyes. I was like, oh my god, what's happened to me? Like in only 3.5 weeks, like of not really eating properly, and you know, like 1 meal a day, something like that, being really stressed. Like, yeah. So then I compare to how I was looking, you know, 5 years ago, or something like that. Yeah, that happens. Wait.
What do you expect of your body to feel confident in yourself?
What do I expect of my body to feel confident in myself? I expect that my body is going to do the things that I command of it. That gives either a sense of confidence, which I often take for granted, but the moment that it doesn't work, it brings about like this complete erosion of confidence, or a you know, presence of doubt or real fear, you know, and that can even come down to like, you know, the way my eyes are feeling or something, you know, like certain things with just like growing older and entering into my 30s and stuff. Like I feel that, you know, when I feel pains in my wrist, or I feel pains in my hip and things like that, like it's, you know, these pains that are coming out, don't laugh, but yeah, these pains that are coming out, like they, yeah, they're very disconcerting. They're very disconcerting. So I guess I expect that my body will grow when I put it under strength training. I expect that it'll be stretchier when I, like, you know, do all my stretches. I expect to not have back pain when I'm doing all the right things, you know. Yeah. And if that doesn't happen, then it undermines a lot of body confidence.
If you could go back in time
Mm.
and give your younger self any advice about your relationship to your body, what would it be?
If I could go back in time and give my younger self any advice in relation to my body, I would.
Your relationship to your body.
Yeah, if I could go back in time and give my younger self advice on my relationship to my body, I would tell it to not be concerned about like the echo chamber of opinions around like the peer group that I was in, or at the lifesaving club when I was like the skinniest, whitest lifesaver on the beach and just used to get picked on all the time. Like I would tell it like that there's going to be people, or you know, that it's all relevant to who I'm hanging out with. Like that if I'm measuring it like that, it's all going to be relevant, and that there are going to be people that are going to think that my skin is beautiful. There are going to be people that are going to think that it's not. There's going to be people that, that think that I look athletic or that I look like I need a feed, you know? Like, it's just, and I would probably tell it to try and cultivate some confidence and some gratitude for the things that I like about it, and pick the bits that I like. Even if I can't like all of it, then what do I like? And if I don't like certain things, rather than just using like confidence to like bolster myself and tell myself, oh, I'm beautiful just the way I am, I don't believe in that. I believe like, no, if you can't get so far with doing that, then change it and see how you feel. Yeah.
If you had a child, what ideals would you want to pass on to them in relationship to size and their body?
Well, that question kind of stumped me.
That's okay. Take your time. Like, I often find like the first things that come to the front of your mind, like your intuition, like your intuitive answers, even if they don't make the most sense to you, like, that's what you should say.
Yeah. I think if I had a child, the things that I would want to pass on if I had a child, the advice that I'd want to pass on for how that child relates to its body, I would say, you know, I would want, I guess, some of the ideals that I would put on that child is for that child to be healthy. You know, that would be, and the way that I would perceive it being healthy is to like eat a healthy diet and, you know, engage in exercise and things like that. And if my child wasn't doing those things, I would probably feel some sort of like responsibility or pressure, you know, to try and encourage them to make the healthy decisions as I so see it. But I would also try and encourage that child to, you know, be grateful for the things about them that they really like, you know, have a gratitude list for their body. And also, you know, I would encourage them to be respectful to their body and like, you know, what they do with it, you know, and how they engage with it in the world and with other people, you know, to have like that respect for their own body. Yeah, I think that would be something I really want them to value.
Are there any ways you wish you were kinder to your body?
I think the ways in which I want to be kinder to my body, or wish that I was kinder to my body, is to, I wish I could just stop with the evaluation that happens. Like, it always seems like it's, you know, it's sort of like this checking in, this thing that comes, like, you know, like whether or not you know, this is, you know, I'm looking too skinny, or, you know, like, you know, if I'm looking, you know, like fit enough, or yeah, things like that, and how my skin's looking, and I think some of that to some extent is good. But
Yeah, it's okay.
yeah, I would hope to. Yeah, I wish that there wasn't so much of an evaluation going on there. That there was some sort of like just rest and acceptance.
Do you think that your parents or role models have given you ideas of what a good body, or in your word, like a healthy body, is / looks like?
I think that my parents didn't really give me much idea of what a healthy body looks like. I mean, they were relatively healthy.
Maybe a good body. Like, what's a good body?
Okay,
Yeah.
what's a good body? Yeah. Okay.
Like, if you read it as healthy, that's fine.
Yeah.
But maybe like just say like good or healthy.
Right. Well, I probably think like I probably learnt what a good or healthy body was in terms of social social interactions through the popular people in my school. You know, through not so much through my parents or any role models. Yeah. So I don't know whether or not you want me to talk about that. But yeah.
Sure, maybe briefly.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that the ideas that like my role models might have given me in terms of like what a good body is, it wouldn't have come really from my parents. My parents were quite silent on, you know, they wouldn't really say anything encouraging about like my appearance or my body or anything like that. Yeah, they were quite passive in that respect. But I looked to being like a real extrovert at that time. I really looked to like my peer group, yeah, and you know would look to like the popular people and how the popular people looked, and they were often like quite athletic and quite tanned and that kind of thing. So like I learnt that, oh well, they're popular, and like look, and all the girls like that guy, like, and he looks like that, and you know, like that was how I thought it was all image based. Like definitely at that young age I didn't think personality had really anything to do with it, because I thought that these people were like, a lot of these people that were really popular were like kind of dicks, but they were, you know, they had people all around them, and yeah, so I think like I thought, oh, that's must be like what good looking is, or like what a good body is.
Just on that same question though,
Sure.
do you feel like your parents being passive about your appearance like made you turn to your peers? Do you think that like if anyway your parents were like more, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think if anyway your parents were like, you're so beautiful, like
Yeah.
you're so
Yeah.
nice to have, that look like, you know, you're such a star, like,
Yeah.
you know, we love how you are this and this. Like, do you think that like that would have made you more confident in yourself and like less looking for others, or do you think that you would have still probably done that to an extent?
I think that being that age and knowing, you know, what I know about like human development, which is not much, but you know, we look into our peers at that age, and yeah, but I think that, you know, it's also important what our parents, you know, instill in us and what they think of us. And I think, you know, my parents just being like quite silent, like, yeah, both my parents didn't take photos of us as a family, like when I was young. My mum was quite insecure about having a photo taken, and my dad didn't really ever like kind of take that many photos. There's huge gaps in my family life where there's like, you know, there's no photos like from certain whole years, you know, in which there wasn't really any photos taken. So like I think that their silence on those matters meant that when like I would receive like bullying and ridicule from peers, you know, I would come home and tell my parents, and I wasn't given any bolstering. Like I wasn't given any like, oh no, you're beautiful, or your body's fine, or, you know,
What did they say?
And like they were like, oh, you know, people can be really mean, or not everyone has to be good looking, or you know, like, or not everyone, like, you know, you know, you don't have to be like a certain way. Whereas what I really wanted them to say is like, you're beautiful, you know, you're fine, you know, but they didn't, and that was extremely wounding. Yeah, definitely. Mm. Yeah, yeah. My dad, and I think that just comes down to my parents' insecurities. My mum insecure. My dad, you know, would criticize my mum's appearance, like just jokingly, but like, you know, to her in kind of badgering little ways. And then my dad would often say like, "God, we're ugly," and talk about like me and him. So yeah, I think that lack of any like positive kind of talk at home on that front meant that like when I went to school and I heard the same kind of things, they penetrated that much deeper. Yeah.
When you believe it.
Yeah. When I was bullied, yeah.
Yeah.